Hello and welcome. I'm so glad to be here on a Friday. Look, I've done the lettering, and I did some tightening of the quote-unquote pencil layer. I don't do tight pencils because, as you know, when you're working alone, a lot of times, like, the finished art is in the sort of inking layer, and when you're digital, you don't have to use the same process as a traditional comics process where you're drawing pencils and then drawing the ink over the pencils. It could be good and useful, especially if you're going to clarify and sort of make your final decisions art-wise over there to do quote-unquote finished pencils. And I am a bit of a noob also, so you just got to keep that in mind. Also, today's Action Figure Friday. I was going to show you my really cool 52 Toys Kyrin. Look at this baby. It's so cool. And apparently you can actually deform this so it fits into a cube, but I don't have that ability. I haven't figured out how to do it. It's really a complicated figure. Anyways, I really love it. It's completely articulated. All right. That's enough for Action Figure Fridays. Let's do some inking. First thing I need to ink is the title. And I'm going to throw another layer on there. We're going to call this ink. We'll call this ink 1. Ink 1. And we're going to start by... Now, I actually used a font to do this title block. But what I like to do is after the ink is done, after the pencil layer, quote unquote, let's call it the draft layer, is done, you can sort of hand draw based on the font. And by the way, the font is deformed. The font does not actually look like this. I've taken the font, and I'll give you an example of what the font looks like. There it is. There's the word rabbit. The font is something called... I think it's Script Creep, but I might be wrong. No, it's Destroy Earth. So it's a... what I've done is taken this font, and I've used the distortion to stretch it out. All right, that makes it more of a display font, in my opinion. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that. And we're going to do something even more different with it. Let's get back my my vintage pen. There we go. I also got approved on 2 additional pages for Tarot Quest. I had sent them in, but I don't invoice until the client says, cool, I like these, and then I send them an invoice, and at that point I'm hoping to get paid. If you have not backed Tarot Quest, please consider it. It doesn't go directly to me. I am merely a contractor, but I would like to see the project be a success. It's a game. I'm only in the role-playing supplement. Now, what I'm hoping is, no matter what happens with Tarot Quest, that they're going to also do the role-playing supplement as a standalone. I'm actually not super into tarot cards myself, so I'm more interested in the role-playing game supplement. Okay. And you can see the original had all these sort of little nick marks and little holes on there. And I'm taking those out, but I'm going to do something else different. I really just want the form of the bee. Now, part of you might be saying, hey, that's cheating. He's tracing the letters. Well, letters have always been stenciled. That's just life. I can actually hand draw letters to a degree. I learned how to do it in a drafting class. When I was in middle school, I took drafting, and they made us do endless alphabets, drafting style alphabets of all caps. I do all my sound effects lettering, for the most part, I do those by hand. And in my sketchbooks, you can occasionally see me doing like a black chancery or, you know, one of the calligraphy type fonts. But not often. And those are, of course, done by hand as well. I'm really into fountain pens. And one of the coolest things you can do with fountain pens is lettering. It's what they're meant for, really. Depending on the nib, they can do the Fude type nib, or even like a more technical nib, or what's called an italic or a stub nib. You have quite a lot of choices, okay. But what we really care about here, and the way fonts are going to help us, is by keeping everything spaced. And anybody who's ever tried to hand letter a title knows what I mean. Like, you want everything be centered, and there's enough room for all the letters. And then the more difficult curves, like the S has got a weird curve, the C's got a weird curve. Some of those curves are very tough. I want to say that that's an ampersand, but I don't know if I've got it. That's the ampersand, really. So let's see. No, I don't really like it. I think we're going to have to go with something like that. All right, let's just get... We'll figure that part out later. I have the original title block of Assault on this iPad, and so I could use that logo. Whoops. The original logo I used for Assault, that took me a long time, is this one. And this is also a deformed font, and you can see that it is. But, and I used that for all of them. There's something like, at one point there were 4 issues of Assault. She's also in the Christmas special. Where else did I use her? She's one I haven't done a whole lot with. She appears at the very end of Rabbit Fighter Escape from Wasteworld, and that's what we're referencing right here. In fact, I even have a note in here. Gallows and Rabbit Fighter made a harrowing escape back in 9 Volt number 7, right? So I'm not liking that curve right there. But once we have our lines down, we can pull off the pencil layer. Just make it go away. And do something interesting. And here I was thinking maybe something more like, here we go, where is it? Rabbit Fighter and Assault. I think it's, where is it? This one right here. So now it's gone, and you can see that's the ink. Actually, when I pull off the entire pencil layer, it's completely gone. Oh, my perspective guide is still up. Oh, and my panel borders have not been drawn yet, so I got to do those too. But here's what I was thinking we would do. Um, First of all, let's 3Dify it. We're going to have the 3Ds on this side and slightly below. And then we're going to do a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles style riff. And what that looks like is it's kind of a, whoops, let's make these dark. I'll make another layer for this. It's kind of some texture reaching up from the bottom. Some cross hatching texture. And it'll just be across the entire name. Or alternately, we could do like some stone texture, like some cracks. Um, or alternately, we could even do maybe some bricks. You know? Now because this one is because this one is a this is Greek myth themed. I am a Greek myth aficionado, and they're in this world of Arcadia, where they've run across Iseult here. I am inclined to do kind of the stone one, like an ancient ruins almost. So we're going to see how that looks. And if it doesn't look good, we'll drop it. Let me show you some other possibilities. I'll give you an example of the kind with the texture on it. Is Brillig was done like that. Where's Brillig? He's around here somewhere. Just got to figure out where did I leave him. Oh, he's over here. So Brillig. So you can see how I did Brillig here, where you get this sort of black to, and it's a really cool effect. Really, I'm thinking about it. Anyway, take a look at like if you have comics available to you. Like here's an old Judge Dredd. This, by the way, was from a gift from Mr. Handsome himself, Evan. Cry of the Werewolf has got this kind of furry look to it. Of course, 2000 AD, the ultra futuristic look. All these sound effects. Tharg in the Nightmare. That's pretty boring, that one. I mean, it's not a boring one, but it's like the font is kind of pretty straight ahead. Keep an eye out for the fonts, man. And think about what you can do to make yours look to stand out and look exciting and look cool. Oops. The other thing about this, I was thinking of like, you know how I have the shadows coming in on the right side of these letters? I think when we hit the center line, which is about here, we start having the shadow be on the other side. So it's almost like we're in the middle of it. And our perspective is to be to the left and to the right. So by the time we get to T, maybe T is almost dead on, but then to the E and to the R and further on to as we move further to the right, the shadow's in the other direction. I'll see how it looks. It might not come out right. Like it might just look like, you just arbitrarily chose a different direction to put the shadow in. Or it's not shadow, it's perspective. It's a combination of things, for gosh sake. Okay. All right, now if this were my plan, at this point after the T, and we do them really thin, and then we would start to see the shadow on the other side. Does that look right? Or is this going to throw us off? But it'll still be underneath. I'm not sure it looks right. Actually, it's looking really subtle. It's fine. So maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? Definitely has that hand-worked look to it. All right, let's try with the stone texture first. Stone texture. Here we go. Rabbit. You can see when you add both the perspective and the texture, it does kind of make those letters really kind of come to life a little bit more. We can even do like a line around it. You know, I think I might actually do that. That's too close, that line, but something like that. I had to get up really early this morning. My girlfriend had to get on the airplane to Florida, and I had to get up and take her to the airport. Okay. And rather than like go home after that, I went right to work. So I got to work before like it was like 5 a.m. The ridiculously early time frame. I'm working all these holes. Speaking of action figures, there is one I've had my eye on as far as the vintage action figures. And that is, I'm trying to get a Perseus from Clash of the Titans. They're generally very affordable. They're like $12 usually, $12 to $15. And it's much more if you get the helmet with them. They have this really cool magic helmet um, that I think came with it. I think it's called the invisibility helmet. But I guess I really just want the figure. It's in the same scale as the majority of my action figures, or 3 and 3 3/4, 5 points of articulation action figures. And I think a Perseus would be really cool. The other one that I really want is usually too expensive, and it's Charon or Charon. I think it's Charon. The Grim Reaper in the boat from Clash of the Titans. Like this movie came out I think in 1979 or 1980. One of the last things Harryhausen worked on. And it's in the same scale as like Star Wars figures. So a lot of times kids would get them so they could have, they would have their Star Wars figures, but they'd have Charon, the Grim Reaper, in there as well. All right. I feel like by putting this inside its own little container, if there are background elements that are black or blacked out, it won't interfere with my logo. But you know what? I don't like this line here. Hang on. I know this must be tremendously boring for some people. There we go. A little marks for the texture. And guess what? I think we're good. We got all that. Same deal here. And then by the time we get to this one, shadows on the other side, which leaves us with this problem right here. Now, I don't think I want to do one like that. I think we're just going to do like a, something like that. Oh, heck. Let's leave it like that. All right. Cool. All right. Now, we could actually even do some texture on the little background piece. For those areas where we've got enough room to put texture. Which there ain't money. And now we've got to figure out what's happening with our panel borders. Let's do those. So that's over here on layer 1. And quick Procreate tip. When you have your line and you're holding it, you got a straight line. If you put another finger down, it'll automatically snap to a 90-degree angle. Thinking of what I think are funny lines that I want to have take place in the comic. I put one on this first page. When Gallows first sees Rabbit Fighter, he's changed his clothes from, they were in this sort of Western land, so he had like a Western outfit on. Because their clothes were all kind of like shredded and destroyed after they'd been shot up in Waste World, I had Rabbit Fighter change to this toga. Check out my new duds, he says. And Gallows says, nice, you look like Steve Reeves. And Rabbit Fighter says, who? So a lot of people watching this channel are like, who's Steve Reeves? So Steve Reeves was in all these like 1970s era Hercules movies. Maybe 60s too. Anyway, let's see. I think we got our panels. We's panelized, and it's at 30 minutes. I think we're gonna cut the video off now. I might still do some more work, but we got page 1 underway. So I will talk to you later. Please like, follow, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, please think about subscribing. And I will be doing comics every day. Even when I finish a comic, I'll start a new comic the next day. I have a bit of luck in that I write my own comics, so I never have to worry about waiting for someone else to complete something. My experience with waiting for other people has not been great. without naming names. But all it really shows to me is that you gotta take responsibility for your own stuff, right? So if it's an issue where you want to be working every day, or working on something every day, you've got to be practicing every day, got to be drawing every day, you got to be the guy drawing every day. So just take care of that. TCB, take care of business. Don't look to anybody else to solve your problems. You must solve your problems. I'm looking at this E-Sultan. I think it's slightly the wrong size. No, it's good. It's good. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.